Jake had been driving for hours after leaving his friend's house in rural Ohio. It was nearly 1 in the morning, and the empty two-lane highway stretched endlessly before him. The only light came from his headlights and the occasional flicker of a neon sign far in the distance. As the trees on both sides loomed darker, he noticed something up ahead. His heart skipped when the beams of his headlights fell on a man standing at the roadside. The figure was dressed as a clown, holding a single red balloon that floated gently in the still night air. Jake slowed, expecting the man to wave or move, but the clown just stood motionless, its painted smile fixed in place. The figure tilted its head slowly as Jake's car passed. A chill ran down his spine, though he told himself it was probably just a prank. Something about it felt wrong. 15 minutes later, Jake had nearly convinced himself the sight was just someone being weird on Halloween, even though it wasn't October. He was gripping the wheel tighter than usual, replaying the clown's motionless stare in his mind. Then his blood ran cold. Up ahead, his headlights revealed the same clown again, this time standing directly in the middle of the road. The red balloon floated against the glow of the headlights, as if mocking him. Jake slammed on the brakes and swerved sharply, narrowly avoiding hitting the figure. His heart pounded as he steadied the car. He glanced quickly in the rearview mirror, but saw nothing except the empty, endless road behind him. Shaking, he pressed harder on the gas, desperate to put as much distance between himself and that painted smile as possible. Logic told him it wasn't possible, but his gut told him something unnatural was happening. Jake's mind raced as he sped through the dark highway. He tried to explain it away. Maybe there were 2 clowns, maybe it was a prank crew, but deep inside, he knew there was only one. When he dared glance into the rearview mirror again, his stomach dropped. The clown was there, running after his car. Its speed was unnatural, its limbs jerking with an inhuman rhythm, yet it was keeping up. The headlights from behind reflected off its painted grin, glowing faintly like a mask. Jake pressed the accelerator to the floor, the engine roaring as he tried to escape. Finally, after several agonizing minutes, the clown disappeared from view. His breath came in sharp gasps. Spotting a glowing sign for a 24-hour gas station, he pulled off the road and into the lot, desperate for the safety of human company. His hands trembled as he shut off the car and stumbled toward the light. Inside the gas station, Jake approached the counter, his voice shaking as he told the clerk about the clown he had seen. The man behind the register stiffened, his face draining of color. He leaned closer and whispered, "You're not the first." Confused and terrified, Jake asked what he meant. Without another word, the clerk pulled up the security footage. Jake's pulse hammered in his ears as he stared at the monitor. The video showed his car pulling into the lot and him stumbling inside, visibly shaken. But the clown was nowhere to be seen. There was no figure chasing him, no red balloon, nothing at all outside. Jake's hands grew clammy as he realized the clerk wasn't surprised. Others had told the same story before, and some of those drivers, the man admitted quietly, had never been seen again. Jake's fear deepened into dread. Determined to make it home, Jake climbed back into his car and pulled away from the station. The clerk's warning gnawed at him, but he convinced himself it was just superstition. The road stretched on, eerily silent. The trees pressed in from either side, and the night air felt heavy, like it was watching him. Then the car began to sputter. Jake's stomach clenched as the engine coughed, the dashboard lights flickered, and the vehicle slowed to a stop in the middle of the deserted road. He twisted the key again and again, but the engine only groaned. Silence enveloped him. Then, faint but distinct, came the sound of balloons squeaking. It was unmistakable, the rubbery twist and stretch of inflated balloons. His blood ran cold. He lifted his eyes toward the edge of his headlights, heart hammering, already knowing what he would see waiting in the dark. Standing just beyond the light was the clown. Its pale costume rippled slightly in the night breeze, and in one hand, it held not one but several balloons, their glossy shapes bobbing together. The other hand dragged something metallic across the asphalt, creating a shrill scraping sound that made Jake's teeth ache. The clown moved forward, step by deliberate step, each balloon swaying with the motion. Jake locked his doors and twisted the key again, desperate for the engine to roar to life, but it refused. His breaths came in short bursts, his body trembling as the figure drew closer. Its painted smile seemed to stretch unnaturally wide, and its eyes glittered in the headlights. The silence of the forest was broken only by the scrape of metal and the squeak of balloons, each step bringing the nightmare closer to his window. The clown stopped beside the driver's side, leaning down until its painted face pressed against the glass. Jake recoiled, pressing himself against the opposite seat. He could see every brushstroke of the makeup, every crack in the white paint, and smell a faint chemical sweetness through the glass. The clown tapped the window lightly, then harder, with long fingernails that scratched thin lines into the surface. Jake's hands shook as he fumbled with the ignition, praying for the car to start. Suddenly, the headlights flickered once, then went out, plunging the car into suffocating darkness. Only the sound of balloons squeaking remained. Then came the metallic creak of the door handle being tested, pulled once, twice, slowly. Jake froze in place, too terrified to move. He realized with a sinking heart that the thin glass might not hold forever. Hours later, a trucker heading toward town spotted Jake's car on the roadside. The vehicle was locked, the keys still dangling in the ignition, but the driver's seat was empty. On the hood rested a single red balloon, sagging as it deflated into the morning sun. The police were called, and a search party scoured the surrounding woods, but no trace of Jake was ever found. His family was left with questions that would never be answered. The clerk at the gas station later confirmed to investigators that Jake had been terrified when he arrived, ranting about a clown on the road. Weeks later, another driver vanished on the same stretch of highway under eerily similar circumstances. Locals began to call it the Clown's Road, warning travelers never to stop if they saw balloons floating in the night. Those who did rarely made it back.